At a top robotics company in Japan this week, 4 robots being developed for military applications killed 29 humans in the lab. And they did it by
Good morning, soldiers. My name is Soldier, and today we are going to be talking about robots. Nah, I'm joking. Today we're going to be reading the book, because book is good, but we're reading a lot of pages, so I thought I'd treat myself by adding in a reference only I would know, because Team Fortress 2 is a dead game. In all seriousness, though, that is terrifying. So, man up today. Only $2. It's only $1. Or if you're a smart person, you buy a key off the Manco store for $2 and get 5 tickets. Smart boy versus dumb boy. You understand? Dumb, smart. Dumb, smart. Smart, but dumb. Dumb, you dumb. I smart. Okay. But in all seriousness, welcome back. Today we are going to be reading about 30 pages. 22 to be exact, but about 30. Technically. So it's just 2 more pages than normal, but it's still a lot. Anyways, without roboting ado, let's get to it. Shoutouts to my microphone, my favorite robot. And shoutouts to my speakers, my second least favorite robot. Third least favorite robot. Alright. Let's begin. The stars look like tiny pinpricks. The light shining through the sheet of black velvet. Casey lay on her back on a slow stone wall, staring up at the sky, feeling wonder at even a small part of such a beautiful universe. She remembered the nursery rhyme from when she was little. There had been a coloring sheet in the kindergarten with the nursery's rhyme words and the picture of smiling stars. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, she thought. How I wonder what I am? Casey, Jack's voice startled her out of her trance. Look over there. Casey sat up and looked at brightly lit kiddie restaurant across the street. Circus Baby's Pizza World. A woman and 2 young children were standing outside his red door. The woman was fumbling with her purse. Let's go, Jack whispered. Casey stood up and casually crossed the street with Jack, ducking into an alleyway next to Circus Baby's, close enough so that she would hear little girl chattering to his mother. I think Circus Baby is pretty, the little brown-haired girl said. She was wearing a t-shirt decorated with Circus Baby Pizza World creepy-looking mascots. She is pretty, the mother said, looking at the little daze. Probably because she had spent too much time surrounded by bright lights and loud noises at the kiddie pizza emporium. Can I wear pigtails like Circus Baby? The little girl asked, pulling 2 handfuls of their hair into bunches. She couldn't be much older than 3. Casey thought 4 at the oldest. Sure you can, the mother said. Hold your brother's hand while I find my car keys. Her hands were all sticky from candy, the boy complained. She was early elementary school age, maybe 7. Mommy, I'm so sleepy, the little girl said. Can you carry my goodie bag? She held up a little plastic bag with the name of the restaurant printed on it. Mother found her key. Sure, she said. I'll just put it here in my purse. Can you carry me? I'm too sleepy to walk, the mother smiled. Okay, come here, big girl. Her purse dangled from her left forearm. She leaned over to pick up her daughter. Now, Jack barked into Casey's ear. Casey pulled the ski mask over her face and dashed over from her hiding place in the alley. She ran past the mother and grabbed the purse with a swift, sure motion. She kept running as the woman yelled, "Hey!" and the little girl screamed. As Casey ran, she heard a little boy say, "I'll catch the bad guy, Mommy." "No," the mother said firmly. "You stay here." If they said anything else, Casey would stick around to hear it. Casey knew she was fast. She knew there was no way the mother could catch her on foot, not with 2 little kids on her hands. After Casey had put some distance between herself and the crime scene, she took off the ski mask, stuck it in her jacket pocket, and slowed to a walk. She carried the purse casually as if it belonged to her, and now she supposed it did. She met the guys back at home, or at least what passed for home. Casey and Jack and AJ stayed in an abandoned warehouse. There was no electricity. They had to make do with flashlights, camping lanterns. But there was a good roof. The building was well insulated, which made it warmer than being outside. They slept in sleeping bags and heated food in a little 2-burner cook stove, the kind people were used on camping trips. Actually, living on warehouse is kind of an indoor camping, though there was one way to see it, Casey thought. She sat in one of the wooden crates they used as chairs, holding the stolen purse in her lap. How much did we get? Jack asked, leaning over her shoulder. He was sharp-nosed and twitchy, like a rat. I like how you say we, even though it was me who took all the risk, Casey said, unzipping the purse. That's the code for the thieves' den, AJ said, sitting in the crate next to her. She was big and bulky, the muscle of the group. We share everything. Yeah, Jack said. It's like how coaches say there's no I in team, except there were no I in thief. Yeah, but actually there's an I in thief, Casey said, laughing. She pushed her long braids out of her face and peeked inside the purse. The first thing she pulled out was a little girl's goodie bag. No wonder the kid had screamed. She didn't want to lose all the candy and plastic junk he had won at the pizza place. Casey stuffed the goodie bag in her jacket pocket and then found out where all the waiting for. The woman's wallet. How much? Jack asked, as much trembling anticipation. Hold your horses, Casey said, unfolding the wallet and taking out the bill. She counted. It looks like $87. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. People hardly ever carried cash anymore. What about cars? JJ asked. I'm looking. She glanced briefly at the woman's driver's license and looked away. She always felt bad when she thought of the victim of having his face and a name of them, waiting in line at the DMV for a new license. She pulled out plastic cards. One gas credit card, one general credit card. The gas card was of limited use since they didn't have a car. Still, they could use it in gas station food marts, and they could definitely get to use out of the credit card before they had to ditch it. Casey had badly needed some socks and a new pair of boots. The ones she was wearing were battered and held together with duct tape, so her feet hurt all the time. We'll try out the cards tomorrow, Jack said. In the meantime, $87 split 3 ways is, he made a big show of doing math, writing in the air, like he was solving a problem on a board at school. $29 each. I'll take 20 of that now, Miss Casey. I'm gonna go out and see how much a person can party with $20. You two coming with me? I will, AJ said. Give me a 22. Casey. He held out his hand. I think I'll stay here, Casey said. She wasn't a partier like Jack and AJ. Her mother had partied a lot, and Casey had grown up knowing that her mom's tendency to blow through all of her money in one carefree night meant that they'd have to live on consequences until her next paycheck. Why? Jack asked. That's no fun. I'm tired. Casey put her wallet back into the stolen purse. I was the one who did all the running, remember? After guys had gone out, Casey lay on top of her sleeping bag and dug through a plastic sack from Circus Baby's World. Pulled out a pair of cardboard glasses with flimsy plastic lens. Cardboard was decorated with a picture of some kind of weird robot ballerina. Casey put the glasses on briefly and made her feel strangely dizzy. And if there was something she was supposed to be seeing, it was too dark to see it. She put them in her jacket pocket for later. Something else in her bag was candy. Casey had felt her fellow thieves ate to survive. They had cheap fast food burgers, and they had little money. Canned beef stew and ravioli shoplifted from convenience stores when they were broke. It had been a long time since Casey had eaten a piece of candy. She felt a very lollipop, unwrapped it, and popped it into her mouth, enjoying the sweet artificial cherry flavor and feeling like a little kid again. A little kid. She robbed a little kid, came to Casey's head, like taking candy from a baby. That's literally what she'd done today. She wasn't proud of it, but at the same time, the kid's mom had nice shoes and a nice purse in the car. She had enough money to take her kids out for pizza and arcade games. She could afford to buy her kids more candy. Why had Casey turned out the way she had? Not like the woman she robbed. Casey had been planning to be a thief who slept in a warehouse. She doubted those were anybody's career goals. Casey's mom had been crazy about being a mom. She worked nights and slept days, and often when Casey came home from school, her mom looked at her with a mixture of surprise and annoyance, as if she was thinking, oh, I forgot I have a kid, don't I? Dinner was usually a bowl of cereal or a sandwich before her mom went out to work at the club. While her mom was gone, Casey did her homework, took a shower, and watched TV until bedtime. She had instruction to go to the apartment of an old lady next door if there was ever an emergency, but there never was. Casey was good at taking care of herself. When Casey was a teenager, her mom got a new boyfriend who seemed like he was going to stick around longer than her past string of boyfriends. He had a steady job and he could help his mom out with money. The only drawback was he didn't want a teenager around, freeloading as he called it. He had said that he moved out of his parents' house and got a job by the time he was Casey's age. That was why he was so successful. When he asked her mom to choose between him and Casey, she didn't think twice about the choice. Casey was out on the street before her 17th birthday. Casey's teachers had begged her to not drop out of high school. Her grades were solid and she was an athlete, but there was a possibility of college scholarships. They said that she could have stayed in school and still earn enough money to survive. She dropped out and drifted from one dead-end job to another, working long hours but never making enough to cover rent and groceries. Sometimes she stayed in sad little rooms she rented by the week. Other times she camped out on friends' couches until their hospitality ran out. The first time she stole was a famous fried chicken in the fast food restaurant where she was working. It was a terrible job. She stood sweating over a deep fryer for hours, and every night she went home feeling like she'd been dipped in a vat of grease. One day when she was sweeping the floor in the dining area, she noticed that some guy had gone to the restroom and left his jacket hanging in the back of the seat. The corner of a $20 bill was peeking out of the pocket. It was too tempting. Sweeping the floor right next to the table, Casey pinched the bill and hid it in her sleeve. It was shockingly easy and somehow exhilarating. She knew the guy would never suspect theft, but he'd just think that he would be more careful. Making minimum wage, standing over hot fryers, it could have been Casey more than 2 hours to earn the money that took her less than a minute to steal. There was a thrill in that, to know that you got away with something, beating the system. Soon she was stealing instead of working, snatching purses, picking pockets, shoplifting food, and other necessities. One day she was at a street festival, lifting wallets and loose bills from people's pockets when two men approached her. First she was scared it might be the cops, but they didn't look like cops. One was a scrawny, fidgety white guy with a lot of tattoos. The other was a broad-shouldered black guy with the appearance of a former high school football player. "We've been watching you, and you're good," the thin, nervous one said. "Have you ever thought about working in a team instead of flying solo?" "We look out for each other," the big guy said, "and we split our take. The more people working, more money." She fell in jack with AJ because they had been on the streets longer than she had and were willing to share their knowledge on how to survive. Sure, they were reckless than she was, blew through the money they stole and their safety in numbers. Even though the guys had got the nerve sometimes, she would have rather been their companionship than try to make it on her own. Casey finished the red lollipop and snuggled into her bed, sleeping bad. She fell asleep and the sweet taste still on her tongue. She awoke to sunlight streaming through the warehouse skylights. AJ and Jack were both snoozing away in their sleeping bags. Casey had no idea what time they had come in last night. She slithered out of her sleeping bag and decided she would use $2 from yesterday's take to buy a cheap breakfast from Burger Barn. A sausage biscuit and small coffee with free refills could last her all day if it had it to. Casey grabbed her backpack and walked through the bright morning sun. The Burger Barn was just half a block from Circus Baby Pizza World, the site of yesterday's heist. Casey chuckled, thinking of something as dramatic as a heist, since it involved stealing a bag of candy from a child. She went inside the Burger Barn, placed her order, and then sat down in an orange vinyl booth beneath the Merle cartoonish barnyard animals. She added cream and sugar to her coffee, unwrapped her biscuit, and took her time with the breakfast. As she nibbled her biscuit and sipped her coffee, she watched the other customers. Most of them were gobbling orders to go, and they rushed off to their jobs at offices or stores or construction sites. They all looked stressed out and in a hurry. That was one good thing about Casey's life. She could take her time. The only time she had to hurry was when she was running off with somebody else's purse and wallet. Buying breakfast at the Burger Barn gave her a right to use the ladies' room without being kicked out. It was a right she treasured. After she finished her meal, she made her way to the restroom. Out grooming for the day, she locked herself in the stall and took sort of a sponge bath with baby wipes. Then changed her socks, underwear, and shirt. After she was done in the stall, she went to the sink and washed her face, brushed her teeth. A woman dressed in a button shirt and khakis in an office job gave Casey a dirty look, but Casey ignored her. She had as much right to her as anyone else. Casey filled her water bottle and put it in her backpack. She was ready for the day. Out in the sunshine, her belly full of food and coffee, Casey felt good. She thought she might take a walk in the park before she went back to the warehouse to see what the boys were up to. As she walked, she shoved her hands in her jacket pockets and felt cardboard glasses from the little girl's hoodie bag. She smiled to herself and took them out. He added as a tiny slip of rolled paper was taped to the glasses left for your piece. She peeled the tape off carefully and rolled the slip paper and read, "Put the glasses in, Laura will dance for you." Casey put on the glasses and felt the same dizziness as the night before. She looked down the sidewalk toward Circus Baby's World. There, in the distance, she saw an image of a ballerina, her hands above her head, standing tiptoe and spinning. It was a very sharp image, blue and a little fuzzy, a hologram. That was about these kind of pictures were called. She suddenly remembered that even if distant blurry, there was something fascinating about a strange ballerina doll twirling. A pirouette? That was the word. It was kind of twirling. When she was little, Casey wanted to be a ballerina. Just like lots of other girls. But there was been no money. and her mother had said even if there had been money, she wouldn't waste on something as useless as dance classes. Casey stood on the sidewalk and watched the image through hypnotized. Though hypnotized, it was beautiful. Casey stood on the sidewalk and watched the image as though hypnotized. It was beautiful. There was so little beauty in Casey's day-to-day life. Casey felt overcome with sadness and longing and other feeling, too. Regret? Was she regretting the way she lived? A life would have beauty in it, shouldn't it? Life shouldn't be more about than just survival. After a while, Casey started to feel dizzy, as if she were the one doing the pirouetting herself. Afraid she might be sick, she took out the glasses and leaned against the side of a building to get her bearings. She looked down at a pair of glasses in her hand. Really, the ballerina was pretty impressive visual effect for what looked like a cheap toy. No wonder the little girl was upset when Casey snatched her goodie bag. To a little kid, these glasses would have seemed downright magical. Casey put the glasses in her pocket. She decided to skip the park and go back to the warehouse. She had to show the guys this crazy toy. Jack and AJ were just waking up when she got back. What time did you guys get in last night? Casey asked, sitting on a great, 2, 3, Jack yawned. He propped up on an elbow and sleeping bag. It doesn't matter. I don't want to punch anybody's time card. AJ unzipped his sleeping bag and sat up cross-legged on the floor. Hey, we were just saying we might take that gas card and you pinch the gas and go and see if we can use it to get some groceries. Sure, Casey said. It would be good to have some food in the house. But first I want to show you something. Outside the warehouse beside the dumpster, Casey took out the glasses. These were in a goodie bag from the pizza place. Try them on. She held the glasses out to Jack. Jack put them on and struck a cool pose and then laughed. Look in front of you, Casey said. Do you see her? See who? Jack said. A dancing ballerina. I don't see anybody, Jack said. They just make everything look blue, that's all. Let me see him, AJ said, taking the glasses from Jack, putting them on. She looked around. I don't see anything either. No ballerina, Casey said. It didn't make sense. Why didn't they see her? Nope, everything just looks blue, like Jack said. AJ handed the glasses back to Casey. Casey was confused. Maybe the glasses only worked in front of Circus Baby's Pizza World. But that didn't make sense either. Why would somebody make a toy that only worked in one place? She put on the glasses and looked straight in front of her across the street. The ballerina, Ballora, according to instructions, was there, dancing in the garbage-strewn alley between two warehouses. But as soon as her dizziness overcame her, and again there was an uneasy feeling that she had before. Well, I see her, Casey said, taking out the glasses before she lost her balance or threw up. Maybe there's something wrong with your eyes. Maybe there's something wrong with your brain, Jack said, laughing and elbowing AJ, who laughed too. Casey ignored and ribbing and put the glasses back in her back jacket pocket. But she did wonder. Were they right? Was there something wrong with her? At the gas and go, they grabbed way more food than most people would buy in the convenience store. A jumbo loaf of bread, a jar of peanut butter, 6 bags of chips, cans of ravioli and beef stew, and a 12-pack of soda. Casey knew she would be the one to pay at the register because Jack and AJ always said that she had an honest face. Most people were less likely to suspect a woman of criminal activity. The cashier looked sleepy-eyed and bored as she rang up and bagged all the items. Casey scanned the stolen card from the machine and held her breath. It was only a few seconds and it felt like ages. The word approved appeared on the screen. Casey, Jack, and AJ grabbed the bags and waited until they were outside the store to laugh at their good fortune. Well, we won't have to worry about food for a few days, Jack said. Hang on to that card, Casey. Casey put the card in a small compartment in her backpack. I will, but I don't know if we'll be able to get by using it again, she said. Usually credit card companies were pretty quick to cancel cards they suspected were stolen. Back in the warehouse, their feet stood on peanut butter sandwiches and potato chips and soda. There was cold from the convenience store's cooler. Jack and AJ were high from adrenaline watching successfully using stolen card. They laughed and joked around, but something was bothering Casey and she wouldn't put her finger on. She smiled at Jack and AJ's jokes, but something had felt like worry and nagging in the back of her brain. The weird thing was, while she felt it, she didn't really know what she was worried about. There was always a thief's worry of getting caught, the worry of getting arrested, tried, jailed. That worry never went away. But this feeling was something else. Somehow it had to do with the glasses. But the fact that she could have danced like a ballerina while Jack and AJ couldn't, it was a strange way looking and twirling ballerina made her feel. After they were finishing eating, Casey grabbed one of the plastic bags at the convenience store. Put your trash in here. she said to Jack and AJ, and I'll take it out to the dumpster. Always cleaning up after everybody. Such a little housewife, Jack said, dropping his empty soda bottle into the bag. Hey, I can't help it if you guys are slobs, Casey said. I don't want to get a bug problem in here. Casey had grown up in a series of progressively dumpier apartments. Her mom had get evicted for not paying the rent, and then they moved to another place that was smaller and dirtier than the one before it. There was always cockroaches in the summer and an airless parade of ants. When Casey got old enough, she washed the dishes and took out the garbage while her mom let pile up. Cleaning helped some, but bugs could still come over from the other people's apartments, like party crashers looking for free food and drink. Casey was always thought when she was grow up, she would have a neat little apartment of her own and it would be clean and bug-free, unlike her mom. She would pay the rent on time every month. The warehouse wasn't exactly what she had in mind, but at least it could do for part of keep the bugs away. She took the trash bag outside and tossed it into the dumpster. Maybe she would take a walk. She felt suddenly to be alone. So you knew that. Inside the warehouse, Jack and AJ would be making plans for the night, since it was Friday, because they'd probably want to go downtown where the clubs were. If you waited late enough until people were partying for hours, it's easy pickings. Casey would walk past a cluster of guys, lift through their wallets without any of them noticing. Purses were always trickier because you couldn't grab them without the owner noticing, but Casey was fast. She had been in track of the field before she dropped out of high school. There's no way a tipsy girl in heels could catch her. Usually Casey had liked to plan out the evening jobs with the guys. She liked to strategize how to come up with the biggest take possible, how to maximize her chances with success. It was like solving a puzzle. But right now she couldn't feel like putting puzzle pieces together. She felt like walking and clearing her head of the confusing thoughts swirling around inside it. Swirling rhymed with twirling. Why wouldn't she get a spinning ballerina doll out of her head? She walked to the park. Office workers on their lunch break sat on benches and ate sandwiches. A dog walker was somehow walking 4 dogs of different sizes without getting their leashes tangled. Casey smiled at the tiny Yorkie that was leading the pack as the biggest dog of all. On the playground, little kids climbed and slid, swung, shouting and laughing. Their moms watched them, making sure they were safe. Casey envied those kids. What it must be like, she wondered. She played with her heart's content, and to know whenever you got hungry or thirsty, your mom would just pull some crackers and an old juice box out of their bag. To know that when you're tired, you can go home and your mom will tuck you into a soft bed for a nap. Even as a little kid, Casey had never known that kind of security. She walked into the more wooded area of the park because she lifted the shade of solitude. The fall leaves, red, gold, and orange, were drifting down from the branches of the trees. Leaves that had already fallen crunched under her feet. It was the strangest thing. She didn't want to see Ballora. She didn't like the way seeing Ballora made her feel, yet she felt herself reaching for the cardboard glasses, felt herself putting them on. She felt the familiar dizziness, steadied herself against a tree, and stared into the woods in front of her. There was sunlight sparkled through the gaps of the branches. There was Ballora, pirouetting among the colorful fall leaves. As she spun, the bright leaves were sucked into her vortex. They flew around her, first gently and then faster, as though trapped in a whirlwind. For a few seconds, Casey admired the beauty, but then she thought, wait, if Ballora is just a picture, a hologram, then how is she affecting the objects around her? It didn't make sense. Also, wasn't Ballora closer to Casey than she was yesterday? It seemed like she was. The image was clear, for one thing, not so fuzzy, and she had joints in the doll like figures, arms, and legs. She could see blue eyes and red lips on the face. The painted face looked clown-like, but unlike most clowns, Ballora wasn't smiling, and empty blue eyes didn't blink. But somehow Casey felt as if they were staring back at her. Ballora was looking at Casey and didn't like what she saw. Suddenly, Casey couldn't catch her breath. She doubled over, afraid she might pass out. Why was she freaking out over a stupid toy? She yanked off the glasses and shoved them back into her jacket pocket. She was being ridiculous, and she had to stop it. If you want to survive, you need to be cool-headed at all times. She could go back to the warehouse and talk to the guys. She needed to know about the plans for tonight. After midnight, Casey, Jack, and AJ hit the clubs. They didn't go into them, but sculled in the darkness outside. The guys got targeted a couple of different bars, and Casey was waiting in an alley outside the dance club that was frequented by a lot of college kids. Their pockets and purses fat with their mommy and daddy's money. She spotted a target. The girl was wearing a short, light pink dress with impossibly high pink heels. Her designer purse had the same shade of pink in the dress and shoes, hung with a skitty strap under her shoulder. Pink dress girl was talking loudly and giggling with her boyfriend. Casey had a tool for the job for these, a pair of strong scissors. It cut through the leather purse strap like it was only made of paper. She took out the scissors and stepped into the crowd. She slipped behind the pink dress girl and positioned the scissors to cut the straps. As she snipped, someone bumped into her from behind. She slipped, and the point-sharp scissors found flesh. Then Casey grabbed her purse and saw a shallow but bloody gash in the girl's arm. Ow, what happened? The girl had. Hey, my purse. Casey ran. She ran until she was sure she put enough distance between her and the victim. Then she slowed a casual tucking the pink evening bag inside her jacket. In her mind, Casey kept seeing the girl's arm slashed by the scissors, the red blood vivid against the girl's pale skin. Casey had meant to hurt her. Sure, getting your purse snatched might scare you a little, but might not convenience you. But it doesn't cause any physical harm. Casey had robbed dozens, maybe hundreds of people, but she never harmed anyone physically until tonight. Spilling blood changed things. It was an accident, Casey thought, but it wasn't really. The girl hadn't got cut if Casey had been lunging at her with scissors. Casey didn't mean to hurt her, but she couldn't exactly claim to be innocent. Casey beat the other guys back at the warehouse. She grabbed the flashlight and sat down in the sleeping bag to see what she scored. She opened a pink purse and dumped out its contents. A driver's license, a lipstick, and a single $20 bill, which, according to Thieves' Den rules, would have been had to be slipped 3 ways. Casey put the items back into the purse and sighed. It hadn't been worth the effort of the bloodshed. She settled down in the sleeping bag, but it was a long time until she fell asleep. The next day, Casey and Jack and AJ walked downtown, casing possible places for the job. They walked past the park where Casey had seen Ballora. Casey glanced into the grove of trees and saw the leaves rise and twirl just like they had around the dancing doll. Put on glasses, and there Ballora was, closer than before. She was getting closer every day. If Casey couldn't get the guys to see the doll, she would feel a lot better. Casey took off her glasses, hurried to catch up to Jack and AJ. Wait, you guys, Casey said. She held out the glasses. Put on these and look over there, right in the middle of those trees. Again, AJ said, not me. I love you like a sister, Casey, but I'm not. I'm done with this weirdness. Jack rolled his eyes and said, all right, give them here. He put them on and looked over where Casey pointing. Nothing. Nothing? Casey's heart sank. Zilch, zilp, nada. Jack said, the way I see it, there are 2 solutions to this problem. One is locking you up in the soft room, and the other is this. Drop the trash in the nearby trash can. There, problem solved, okay? Casey felt a wave of relief wash over. Jack was right. No glasses, no problem. Okay, she felt herself smiling a little. Thanks, Jack. You're welcome, Jack said. Now you need to pull it together. The Thieves' Den needs your quick wits and nimble fingers. No more freaking out over weird stuff. Casey nodded. She wouldn't believe she'd let herself fall apart just because of a cheap toy. Quick wits and nimble fingers. You got 'em, Casey said, wiggling her fingers. Why don't we take a bus in Walmart and see if we can get a lady's credit card to work? Excellent idea, Jack said. See, you're better already. The guys headed toward the bus stop, but Casey hesitated. The glasses were made to see Ballora. Being rid of them, she couldn't see Ballora, but that wouldn't mean Ballora wouldn't be there. She would be following Casey, getting closer to her every day. But Casey would have no way of knowing where she was. The thought of an invisible Ballora was scarier than a thought of a visible one. Casey reached into a trash can, retrieved the glasses, and put them back in their pocket before she ran to the bus stop. At the big box store, Casey picked out a new pair of boots, heavy, comfortable, and practical. They all been grabbed packages of socks and underwear and t-shirts. Buying too much stuff would be aroused suspicion, so they tried to limit as much stuff At the big box store, Casey picked out a new pair of boots, heavy, comfortable, and practical. They all grabbed packages of socks and underwears and t-shirts. Buying too much stuff would arouse suspicion, so they tried to limit themselves to the things they needed the most. As always, Casey was the one who made the purchase because of her honest face. Her face didn't matter much, though, because the cashier rang the items up without looking at her. When asked robotically, debit, credit, or cash? Credit, Casey said, holding out a stolen card. Woman scanned the card with a machine, frowned, and then tried again. I'm sorry, ma'am, this card has been declined. You have another card you would like to use today? No, thank you. Casey grabbed the useless card, abandoned her 10 purchases, and walked quickly to the front door, where Jack and AJ were waiting. Declined, she said. Well, that sucks, Jack said when they walked out the door. AJ shook his head. The lady must have reported it stolen. Too bad. I was kind of looking forward to my new socks and undies. Oh yeah, I'm sorry about the coughs. I'm sick, so my throat is sore. That's fun. Yeah. There's not really a lesson that I'd need to teach here. Except maybe think of reality. Because that's like kind of the lesson with all these books, really, is like think of the reality of stuff before you question the moral. Because she's scared of a robot chasing her. But think of the reality of it. It's a robot. Robots don't walk. They kind of just do other... You know, kind of funny, the first video we show, or the starting video and then this. You know, maybe robots do walk now. I don't know. Or maybe robots can think. I don't know. Kind of a scary thought, to be honest. I mean, like, you know, to others. I think it's quite an interesting thought, to be honest. But yeah. All I gotta say is maybe watch your back. I don't know. This one's kind of a weird one. I always try to give a lesson, but it's like, this one, I can't really think of one. I mean, I guess I could say paranoia, but slowly but surely, this is becoming a reality with the first video we showed today about Japan and their military force. So, I don't know. Paranoia in the Americas. How about that? Anyways, hope you guys have a super fantastic, wonderful day. Be polite, be efficient. Let's pray to God that Japan doesn't attack us. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.